A very good afternoon to all the listeners and viewers. And today, from Canning Vale Live, we're going to be talking about the recent invitation of WA. And my name is Dharmindher Singh. I'm one of the migration agents here at the Canning Vale office with Aussies Group. As most of you are already aware, I was going to talk to you about something else, but we'll leave that topic perhaps for another week. Today, we're going to talk about the recent invitations, like I've already mentioned to you, for the WA state nomination. Now, before we go into what were the uh, maybe classes or not classes, the percentage of people who applied and what were the points and what were they invited, when did their EOI get lodged, and all that, the questions that a lot of you really want to know, because every time I talk about another topic, a lot of you want to know about this. We will get into that. But I want to just very quickly stress again, state nomination in WA is exactly that. Now we haven't seen such a healthy, if you like, invitation round as opposed to the last round, because we had a lot of invitations. I'm sure you guys have been following our post that is usually done courtesy by the lady who will be reading some questions, Anna. So she religiously gets all this information, puts all of this data down for you people to realize, to benchmark if you want, what were the invitations like, and at what points, and what are your chances, and all of these things that really factor into getting the invitation. Now, speaking of getting the invitation, let's talk about that. You are going to realize, because I'm going to tell you some numbers for people who say were accountants, okay, and they have been invited at different points as opposed to 190. Now, whether or not you are invited in the graduate stream or the general stream is what we can talk about shortly. Now, naturally, all of you are already aware. When I say all of you, I'm assuming most of you are listening in from WA. Now, if you studied down here and you've done your 2 year study clearly, then you, if your occupation is on the graduate list, then you apply under the graduate occupation list. Now, that is the best thing that you can possibly do. Why? Because on that, I've got a list down here, right? So you have all those wonderful occupations, the trade occupations, as well as the accountants, the IT, the engineers, and all these other occupations that are in there. What a lot of people are failing to realize is they have applied, say, on the basis of the graduate stream, where if you are invited, I don't want to go into those kind of details because you are already familiar with that. But if you have a question specifically about, if you're new to the whole Western Australian state nomination, then you can ask me any question. But I just thought I'd touch very briefly on this. You needed to have studied, you needed to be residing here, you need to be onshore. Now, we've already covered issues like if you're Section 48, how does that impact your invitation now or not? It doesn't, you already know that. But I want to jump straight into the fact that under the graduate occupation list, if you are invited, you can either accept it by showing that you've worked 6 months, 20 hours a week in that nominated occupation, or if you haven't been, then you got to accept it by producing a letter of offer, job contract letter for 6 months. Now, exactly, if you paid attention, is what I said, letter of offer or job contract. Now, if you're not working there, or if your visa doesn't allow you to, you're dependent on your partner and you only have 20 hours a week, or you are on a student visa, or any of those kind of circumstances, you need to still have a letter of offer, job contract. But even though your employer realizes that you are a student and only 20 hours a week, and to accept this invitation, you need to, I see a lot of you do know, but you want me to answer this question, but that's fine. You need a job offer letter contract that says full-time. Full-time meaning 35 hours a week. Now, it does not say 40 hours a week and your title is casual or part-time. It needs to be a full-time contract. That's where a lot of the confusion seems to be going on about. I've had a lot of invitations from a lot of clients of various occupations, and funny enough, 60-70% of the time they have this question: "Oh, I'm able to get a contract, but I'm actually a casual." I'm like, "Okay, fine, you're a casual." And I said, "How many hours are you working?" This is, "Oh, 40 hours, 35 hours." I said, "Okay, good." But it defines very clearly, it needs to show that the contract is full time. There's no two ways about it. The contract has to say full time. Now, if you're already working, I don't see a problem. Speak to the employer, tell them this is my invitation, show them first, be proud of it, and get that written in paper that you are now a full time employee. There is a fundamental difference between being a permanent and a casual employee, because then they want to protect your rights. You need to show that you are working, and you're working for the next 6 months. You need to demonstrate that your salary and your pay slips and your PAYG and everything else is happening. So this is very important that you do that. Now, if you still are confused about that, then contact me for further information. You shouldn't be confused. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is, let's say you have a situation where you've been invited for 491, which a lot of you have. You have been invited for 491 and you are not certain, and somehow or other you got within this short period of time, in quick succession, you have the 190 invitation at the same time. But because you didn't let the 491 lapse within 28 days, if you accepted the 491, you accept it, and it's still with them, and you have the 190, that's fine. No problems. Obviously, if you have the 190, you want to jump onto the 190 naturally. However, if you haven't been approved and you haven't accepted it, obviously you can't accept it because the state nomination team hasn't approved it. If it has been approved and you've accepted it, and if you had this invitation, that means you got an invitation by mistake. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Because you cannot be, and the state nomination team have said, if you've been invited and you've been approved and you accepted it, that means you are locked in this financial year. So don't get all your hopes all excited and say, "Oh yeah, okay," because the system just generates that, but you will not proceed any further through the system. Just remember that. Now, Section 48, you already know doesn't apply to you. If it is, then if it pops up, whatever the case is, then there's a way of going around it. So don't feel frightened about it. So I've got very wonderful clients. If you are listening, you know who you are. You're very, very lucky. Section 48 doesn't apply. You have 190 invitations in accounts. Brilliant. I'm happy for you. So your application is being drafted as I speak. Now, the rest of you who say, for example, you were invited for 491 in April or May last year. Last calendar year, meaning this year, but in April or May. I stress again, very important. If you were invited in April or May for 491, and if it got approved before 30th of June, before the financial year starts on the 1st of July, if it got approved and if you signed and if you approved it, okay, then there's no problems. Okay, then there's no problems in the sense that if you were invited for 190, you can accept the 190. All right. Otherwise, it's happened to some of my clients at the same time. They got very excited when their 190 came as well, because they have launched the 491 and they got a 190 as well. They're like, "Oh, but hang on, it's when you signed the approval back to them is when you got locked in." So be careful of that. So if you are in that unfortunate situation, you cannot be eligible until the next financial year, which is basically coming up in the 1st of July. So just remember that. And if you're confused with that, you are a 491 bridging visa holder, you have been invited for the 190 and you don't know what to do with it, you don't know whether I'm going to go forward or not, you are a chef or accountant or any occupation, you are uncertain, get in touch with me and I'll tell you what to do with that, okay? And this is pretty serious. Now, let's talk about, we'll get into questions later. I got a bit of a bad throat because it's been talking non-stop this morning for 4.5, 5 hours, which can take a toll. I want to just very quickly touch on some of the occupations that we got in the general stream for 190. I've got this list down here and I'm going to read it off here, okay? So some of the occupations that we got, which you already know, for those who have been quick enough, fast enough, and diligent enough, and gone onto our website and checked, you will see that we had registered nurse, medical, mental health, and all of that were invited under the general stream, Schedule 1, 190, okay, on 75 points, which is brilliant, okay, brilliant. I had a few nurses as well, and I've sent them emails, but I think they're too busy to reply, too excited. They'll have a shock of their lives when they check out their emails in shortly. Now, and there were general stream, yeah. So then there were general stream 491 as well. So 190 got invited at 75 points, registered nurse, medical, and you know the requirements for that. You need to have either worked 1 year here or you have 3 years overseas experience in order to be eligible. So a lot of you have done your conversion or you've done your bachelor's or your master's, and you are a few months away from meeting the 1 year requirement. We've put in your EOI, but you will not be invited until you have the 1 year. So just remember that. When you are invited, what do you have to do? You need to produce a full-time contract for that. So just remember that. Very, very important. Now, we also had general stream 491. We had registered nurses were invited at 90 points. We had pharmacists, registered nurse, aged care, 100 points. So now, some of them were as recent as the 29th of October. The EOI was lodged and they still got an invite. That means they had just only got their 1 year was up. So we can just imagine within such a short period of time, they got the invite, okay? So now, jumping into still staying onto the 491 general stream, a lot of nurses, lots of general stream. We have accountants, there's no problems. Chefs, cooks, 85 points. Chefs, 491. There were a lot of chefs as well for 491. But what I want to talk to you about, we had a motor mechanic at 85 point as well. I want to share with you 491 graduate stream. It's a very interesting one here. A lot of chefs. Oh my God. Okay, chefs. So 491, I had chefs who were 65 points. Okay. So their EOI was launched on the 9th of September this year. Advanced diploma, competent English. So they had 65 points, which is pretty interesting. So they still got a 491. And obviously these are the people who are hoping that they have a 190 invitation. So I don't want to go to comment on that. Personally, seriously, if you had a 491, and if you're a chef or you're a trade occupation, you know the quota is not that great for the 491. Just accept it, lodge it. And if you think, if you lodge, let's say, and you still wanted to wait, you by accepting it, you disqualify yourself until next July. But if you accept, pay the $200, let that system go on checking for 1-2 months. And before accepting their approval, you are eligible for a 190 invitation. Like the guy who just came and saw me this morning, he is one of my clients. It's exactly the same situation. So this is my advice to him. The same advice I'm giving it to you live. Waited for all this while, has finally got a 491, did whatever, advanced diploma and all that. As a chef, got the invite for 491. You know the process is going to take a month and a half to maximum for the state nomination to go check, to verify whatever they need to. Meanwhile, if you happen to be that lucky and you've been a good person, Santa might give you a present and get you an invite for December for that 190. If that doesn't happen, then at least you've given yourself that opportunity to be invited in December. That's what I advise him. So that's what we're going to do. You already know it's a him. Now, I'm going to talk about 190 now under the graduate stream. Again, this was interesting, and Anna and I, my colleague across, who's sitting listening patiently, we were talking this offline. We had an accountant who were invited, both. We had bachelors as well as masters, different clients, of course. 65 points, 190 invitation. That means it's possible, okay? English is proficient, one had masters, one had bachelors, but the EOI was lodged under the graduate stream. One of them was lodged in, well, January this year, okay? And the other one was lodged in October 20th. On 65 points, so they managed to get a 190 invite, which just goes to show that the announcement the state nomination made 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, where the emphasis, initially they didn't invite many grads. They invited a little bit of general here and there, and then there was not many. And this time, the last round, we're just talking about the last round, was just a bumper. Brilliant. Very happy. Very busy, by the way. Okay. So that just goes to show that it's also dependent on points, when you applied, and whether you got your masters or you got any other points differential. So these things make a difference into you getting an invitation. I don't want to bore you with how many finance managers, how many accountants, management, a lot of accountants this time. I got 3, 4, 5 pages worth of number of clients who got invited. That's insane, crazy. Wow, just looking at it, it is just unbelievable. Wow, Anna, this is just from the last round? Wow, seriously? Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at this live at the same time, because I've been just busy doing other things. Mining engineer, I got one, that's on the list. Wow. So no mechanical engineers, network administrator, developer programmer, ICT project managers, 190, agricultural scientists. Wow, wow, wow. Good, brilliant. So leave all the wows aside. Let's take some questions. I'm sure we've got some questions. Everybody loves to ask questions when we talk about state nomination. That's when you have a sip of.
Okay.
All right. Which is the first taxi off the rank? Let's see.
Zoe is asking.
Zoe, how are you?
How to get full-time offer letter on student visa?
Very easy. You approach an employer, and if the employer likes your profile and you're happy and what have you, they can offer you a full-time contract. And I think I said that quite specifically earlier, that the employer is aware of your visa status, is aware that you can't work full-time on a student visa, but offering you that job, that contract, on the understanding that, you know, when you do have full-time work rights, that contract will kick in. So it's a little bit of a trick of how you phrase and how you put that points and the words and the contract aside. And I'm not saying it deliberately in this manner to say, hey, come contact us, but really there's a little bit of a science to that, a little bit of process of how you go about that. So we word these things quite well, in the sense that it's quite self-explanatory. And if you're comfortable with that, and if that's something that you have a doubt over, you've been invited, you don't know what to do, you have that situation like Zoe you're presenting, contact me, I'll tell you how to go about that. But that's basically how it is done. You still have to reply within the 28 days. You want to accept the invitation, you don't want it to lapse. And if you have a job offer, then it's just how you get to the state nomination team and present this information to them.
So it has to be full-time, right?
Yeah. Absolutely full-time.
So the next question is our fellow accountant with 100 points, Tamanna.
I know who she is, yeah.
Tamanna Saini.
Yeah.
So she lodged her EOI on 13th of October on the general stream. Still haven't received invitation. 100 points as accountant. So she's asking.
On 491.
She hasn't mentioned.
Okay.
She said general stream.
Sorry, general stream. Yeah.
Yeah. So it hasn't mentioned which visa, 190 or 491, and she's asking what the reason could be. She hasn't mentioned she is in WA or Eastern State.
So sorry, the name Tamanna is very much like a client of mine. But so anyway, regardless, so you launch in October, right? Sorry, Anna?
Yes,
October?
13th of October.
13th of October, you were invited and you accepted and you gave them the information. In other words, to the state nomination team. So from 13th of October onwards.
No, she hasn't got invited.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
100 points accountant has not got invited since 13th of October.
I am very surprised that that's happened. Okay. Now, if 13th of October, correct, perfect time. So she hasn't mentioned whether she's general or graduate, right? We don't know that either.
General, Schedule 2.
Schedule 2. Okay, so she's not here. So she's from another state.
Don't know. Yeah, she hasn't mentioned.
So she's clearly, I'm assuming that's point of elimination down here. Tamanna, you can just pop in later on and tell us if that's your set. If you are not from here, the reason why you are not perhaps even on those high points is because of the preference now being given to accountants, or for the matter, anyone who's residing here. So residing here as of 3 weeks ago gets preference, and that's been updated on the state nomination website. Go check that out. And that kind of makes a difference whether you get an edge over people who are already residing here in getting the invite. And that's probably the reason why.
Next question, Amanat Kaur. Hi sir, I'm currently in Victoria working as a RN with 80 points, 1.5 years of experience in same field. I applied for WA 190 in August but did not get any response. She's in Victoria at the moment.
Yeah, she's in Victoria. Yeah. A bit odd. A bit odd in the sense that, see, the state nomination has openly and blanketly made a statement that you have to be residing here to stand an invitation, a better chance for an invitation. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say to you. So now you are applying under Schedule 1. Schedule 1 is, you've worked for more than a year. Your EOI should have reflected that, and it should prompt the state nomination team to pull out their invite. Something is not adding up. Don't know what it is. Look, happy to see or get an email about your EOI, how you did, what did you, you could just maybe tick one or two things wrong. You never know. I'm not aware because I didn't do your EOI. It sounds like you've been waiting for a while. You've been working and all that kind of stuff. You've been working for as long as the pandemic has been with us. Goodness me. Send me an email. Let's just see if we can put you out of your misery.
Yeah, the email address for Dharmindher is on the comment section. Oh, sorry, the description section. So you can just fetch it from there.
Okay.
Next one is Adam. Hi, I'm holding 80 points as a chef and residing in WA. EOI lodged in April. No invitation. So, and shall I wait for 190 or try 491?
You see, the answer lies in the question that you just mentioned when they said, shall I try for 491? So in this person only put an EOI for 190. Yeah. Right? It's a bit odd. Look, I get that. We all both get that. Everybody just wants 190 and they only put an EOI for 190. Now, for whatever reason, if I'm looking at the 190 graduate stream now, look. Okay, chefs, 190 graduate stream. Goodness, I can't even make this thing up. People were invited with both advanced diploma and diploma at as low as 65 points. Yes, you heard that right, 65 points. Meaning they would have had, say, 70 points, regardless, 65, 70, right? But the point is this, their EOI effective date, I've got May, I've got March, got July, I got another March. You're not that far off. What was this person's date again, Anna?
Adam.
Adam, what the date was when?
Oh, date April.
Very odd. You fall between this bracket. You should be invited already. Very, very strange. You're not even invited for 190. I'm looking at this thing here. So something is wrong with your EOI. Very, very.
Could it be he already got invited for 491 and that calendar month?
So we don't know, right? Because he said
Yeah.
never wait for a 190. So
Yeah.
sorry, for 491. So once again, if you have been invited and if you were invited for 491 and approved and you accepted within the last calendar year, meaning before 30th of June, you will be invited for 190. But if it was all of those I just said and it happened after, then it doesn't work that way. So please understand that, because that's where the confusion for a lot of people is. Okay, find that very strange that you've not been invited for either. I've had chefs who were invited for 70, 75 points for 491. I had chefs who were 80, 85 points for 190 even. So I don't know what you're doing with your EOI, Adam. I suggest you do something about it. Contact, say you do something, just get a check.
Azar's Sheikh, any motor mechanic got invited?
Motor mechanic, let's see. I think we did. I just saw that. I'm checking to see how many points, okay? Motor mechanic, here we go. You want to know whether motor mechanic got invited. Let's start my car. Vroom, vroom. Motor mechanic.
He actually has 80 points as a motor mechanic and lodged 491 and 190 both, but he's in Victoria at the moment.
Oh,
yeah.
He's in Victoria. So how is he going to get an invite in WA?
No.
Yeah. Even if you did, and motor mechanics were, you need to. I like how they just quietly put that information at the end.
I was scrolling and I saw his second comment.
No problems.
Yeah.
So motor mechanic were invited at 85 points, general stream 491. Wow. EOI effective date 8th of November. 8th of November, 85 points, motor mechanic. You go figure that out.
But residing in WA.
But residing in WA, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now this is good. A cook even got invited for 85 points.
Okay. Another question. Agricultural technician.
Yeah, technician.
491 and at 80. I think we got agricultural scientist.
We got a scientist.
But he's in New South Wales. Same thing.
No, you see, if you are not from here, you're applying under the general stream. What happens is, it's one of those things. I can't tell you, oh, we have an 85-point general stream, but residing down here. Then it really becomes that, because you keep hearing that residing down here. That is what that gets this thing through. Okay, that's where this whole difference is. Okay.
Diptano Saha, I have 100 points, including state points for accounting.
Okay.
Currently moved in Perth and working as a full-time accounting job.
Full-time accounting
Do I have a chance to 190 in December? 100 points currently. So just recently moved.
Recently moved here.
So is there any time frame that they have to be residing in WA?
No. The WA doesn't prescribe that like some of the other states have. They just want to know that you are here, you're residing, and obviously if you are invited from their time, and you said you're residing, then they will ask you show me proof that you were residing from that period of time.
Yeah, and that's what they want to see. Also working full time here.
Exactly.
So probably good chance.
Very good chance. Very good chance. How many points again?
100, including state points for 190.
No problems.
Yeah.
No problems. Hang in there.
Arena. I got invited for 491 through graduate stream. I have 2 years of experience in my occupation, but that at the moment I'm not working in a closely related occupation. Do I still need to provide the contract? So got experience, but no employment contract at the moment in the closely related occupation for 491.
So got invited, have been invited, right?
Yeah, for 491.
491. What was the occupation again? Sorry.
She hasn't mentioned.
She hasn't mentioned. So here's the deal, right? So you got invited 491, whatever the points is. Now something about closely related. What was that? Closely.
She has got experience of 2 years. but not working in a closely related occupation at
So
the
we don't know
moment.
what that means, right?
Yeah,
Because
But
so my understanding is now if you were invited on those points and on all of those variables that you just mentioned, if you were invited as an accountant, okay, but you worked as a finance manager, or you got invited as a finance manager and worked as a, or you know, in one of that funny situations is in your case, or you were a registered nurse, but you got invited as a mental health nurse. That's nursing. That's all in one whole big happy family. So that's not a problem. So you need to show that in order to accept that under the general stream that you need to show 1 year of contract. So you need to demonstrate that. Now, if that is your case, give us a little bit more information, then we can perhaps feed you the correct information. As of now, I don't like to be guessing this kind of stuff online. Oh, sorry, on air.
next question is Saif. Good evening. 70 points for engineer technologist. No experience,
Oh,
no
stop.
job
Engineering
offer.
technology is not on the list in WA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's asking chances for 491 for South Australia.
Oh,
We are talking about WA
we're talking about
today.
WA today, right now. I mean, even on those very low points, South Australia would require you to be perhaps living there and showing that you are in Greater South Australia or somewhere there. And for 6 months or so, then you're eligible for their particular ones as a technologist, if that's what you're doing. So I suggest the information is pretty good over their South Australia website. So it's all perhaps a little bit more exhaustive than what I'm saying to you. Yeah.
Is security specialist in WA?
Yeah. ICT security specialist is.
Yes. So same thing. Govardhan Reddy is in New South Wales, got 95 points. Any chance? And has got a job offer in WA, but currently in New South Wales.
I'm telling you, if this person moves to WA, he's got a job offer, doing everything else, comes comes on board here, and then I'm actually doing that for three of my clients. Two of them are moving from Canberra. One is moving back from Tasmania. They have serious points, some crazy occupations that they have. Sorry, crazy points on good occupations. One of them got invited immediately while moving, and it just happened. So I think it really has become a little subtle push from the state to include people to say that if you're residing here, I'm just going to benefit you now, like how the other states are doing. So that's what WA is doing at the same time. So if you are in a position to move back, you've got a job offer. Goodness me, why would you not? Why would you not come to WA? I mean, obviously, once the government allows you to come in, then you apply your G2G pass and come in and put it in and get an invite.
Next question. So finance broker is only under graduate occupation, but this person, Silut Gum, has not completed his study from WA. So he won't be eligible, right? Because finance broker is not under general.
Yeah, if your occupation is not on the graduate list, I think that occupation, one of the occupations you mentioned, is probably in the graduate occupation list.
Finance broker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it is on the finance broker or it's on the graduate occupation list. So basically, the deal is this, right? So if your occupation has a finance broker, dealer, and it's got all of these new ones that they just put in, if it's on the graduate list and you studied something to that effect, and you studied 2 years down here, then yes, then you are eligible to apply and try to meet that requirement on the by virtue of being a graduate from here. But if you're not, then you are where you are. You finish your studies, but if that occupation is not on the general list, then disqualifies you from being invited here anyway.
Yeah. So his occupation is only in graduate occupation.
Yeah. Which is not a graduate from here, so that's not going to happen.
Any chance for civil engineer with 70 points? I think we did get.
Yeah. We've got a few civil engineers. Civil engineers right now, 85, 70 points. Goodness me.
Is that for 491 or 190? 190.
70 points. Invitation, EOI effective date 10th of November. Hello, 190.
Yeah. So as long as they meet the requirements.
You meet the requirements, 70 points. Yabba dabba do. I mean, that is just awesome.
Okay. Let me. Any update on Dharma, Pilbara, and 5,000 additional
I think I
WA
know who this
seats?
person is. If this is the Dharma,
Salman.
is so. Look, everybody's been asking this. Yeah, this Dharma thing is just insane. They keep talking about Pilbara going to be included, quota is going to be included. Nobody knows. Um, it's I don't want to say this online, but it's it's frustrating. Is nobody knows. So no update to answer your question.
Okay. Ruchi, am I going to get bridging visa after the state nomination approval because she's on the Section 48 bar?
You don't get a you get a bridging visa by virtue of lodging an application. So Section 48 bar was there to prevent you from lodging a visa onshore. Now, since you are not you're not prevented from lodging the application onshore now, and you've been invited, and everything gets approved. So when you launch a visa down here, you will get the corresponding bridging visa that is applicable to you in that case.
Runal studied BSc in hotel management from India, Masters in hospitality in Sydney. So if she is to move to WA, is there any pathway for her for PR?
So studied what again? Sorry.
BSc
Bachelor of
in
Science.
Hotel management
Hotel management.
and Masters in hospitality.
Okay, so hospitality is your take. You are in that very nice, comfortable sort of area of study. And yeah, you got hospitality, you got hospitality in itself is brilliant, right? So you would have to do 1 year of work experience in that occupation. Now, the hospitality one that come to mind obviously are things like hotel, motel manager, cafe, restaurant manager, and all of those occupations related to hospitality. Qualifications you have, but you might have to just do a little bit of a study in the like a diploma in hospitality as well. That's specific to the area that you want to be in, and that's what's going to tip you over to get an invite.
Niyati, 85 points, software engineer, developer programmer, EOI lodged in August 2021. If I'll move to WA, what's the chance? I think we did receive for developer programmer at 80 points.
Yeah. Developer programmer is very healthy occupation. We have that developer programmer 85 points, network administrator 80 points, ICT project manager 75 points, EOI lodged in basically from September, October, November. They all got invited. Do we still have a lot of questions? Or
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Sorry.
Repeat question. People are just sending same
Just one
question.
second.
We have answered already.
Just do an urgent message for live message to my champion. Okay, go on.
If someone already applied 491 in WA, not granted yet, and they got 190 in last round, will they be eligible or no?
Hang on, this is odd. What was the question again? They got invited for 491.
They applied 491 in WA,
Yeah.
not granted yet, and then they got 190 invitation in last round.
Okay, perfect. So this is exactly the scenario I was telling you about, right? Now listen to all of those people who are still tuned in. Listen to this question very carefully, right? So if you've been invited 491 and you accepted, so they approved it and you accepted it, you signed and you gave them back again. And if you did all of that 491 before 30th of June, right, then you're well and good. Then if you have this 190, you can accept the 190. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Accepting it is exactly the same thing because you're on a bridging visa for the 491, which is going to be a long time. Then you lodge this 190, get the acknowledgement, then you withdraw the 491 because it's not decided yet. You're still on a bridging visa. But if your 491 is granted, you can't do that. That's the problem.
Any option for Diploma of Early Childhood Education and Care?
No, not much happening in that scope, unfortunately. It's a pretty depressing sort of area for a lot of people who are in that line.
Okay, another one. A lot of accountants who have lodged the EOI living in WA are not getting invited. 190 graduate stream for accountant lodged the EOI on November with 75 points, living in WA. What are the chances?
I'm looking, the chances I'm literally, I'm not even making this thing, I'm looking at it, but you're reading me the questions, right? But I've got an accountant who on 75 points, invitation EOI lodged on the 3rd of November, master's qualification, English is proficient, 75 points got invited. I have two accountants, I've even got one on 70 points. And I already said to you, on 190 graduate stream, 65 points. You go figure that out. EOI lodged 20th of October. Something is wrong. Something is not adding up. So let me know what's going on.
Joshan is saying Diploma of Hospitality and working as a restaurant manager in, but hasn't mentioned where. Any option for probably for WA? So restaurant, cafe and restaurant manager, right?
So your cafe restaurant manager is there. We have a few of them who are invited, so that's all good. If you've got an EOI, you're in the system, that's absolutely very healthy, seriously very healthy. Look, I wouldn't give up any hope. Come on, look at the recent announcements. Borders are opening, and December, everybody's going to go rah, rah, rah. 200,000 people are expected to come through. So there's a little bit of a very positive injection towards coming back to WA, for crying out loud, right? So this quota, yes, no, all this increase, and WA is going to get more than 1,004. There's going to be a lot of positives coming out from that. We are going to be, not us just busy, but I think you guys are going to be in a better position to perhaps all those accountants who are screaming out and saying, oh, how come I didn't get an invite? Now, you just can't say you want 190 and 190 only and don't do anything else. Yeah, there's 300 spots for 491. They've invited thousands, but no one is taking that up because some of them, for various reasons, depending on the occupations, are unable to get a job offer or something of that nature. So just be aware of that. Just watch the space very closely for the next 2 to 3 months and see what happens.
Sai Kiran, civil engineer, 95 points, residing in New South Wales, waiting for Schedule 2.
Wait.
Unless you move to WA.
Unless you move, because this announcement came about. Look, initially when it was announced, wow, okay, you are in the general stream, you could apply. It was all good. When WA thought, hang on, how do they incentivize their own people? And that's just really what's happened. So, kind of like how us from WA are trying to apply under Stream 3 for New South Wales. New South Wales saying they want to incentivize their own people. So there's a little bit of that happening. Okay, just be aware of that. Wow. You can wrap up or?
Got a few questions. Bina, I nearly finished my Master of Public Health and I'm planning to study Bachelor of Nursing. Can I go into student visa again? And will I be able to get TR after I finish my Bachelor of Nursing? I'm assuming she's already on 485. Yeah.
Okay, excellent question, right? So you were studying, you realized that your Bachelor of Health, stuff like that, didn't have any PR options. And then you, on 485, you went to study. No problem. 485, you can study, work, do whatever you want to do. And you choose to study something that has got a PR pathway. So whilst on 485, you can study. But if you studied and you finish everything within that, your 485, then you don't apply for another 485 because you can only apply for 485 once. Remember that. That's where people have this thing, oh, gee. But if your partner chooses to study while you're in 485, then no problem, right? Then you piggyback on that visa. But you can only ever study one course of study and be eligible for one 485, and that's it, okay? So, but your other part of the question was that while studying on your 485, if you didn't finish your studies in time, then you, in order to finish the studies, then you apply for a student visa. to go on a student visa to complete their studies. Okay.
Sandeep Kumar, when will they start giving 491 visa?
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't normally say this online and on air, but the I don't know part is that you're asking me when will they give you the 491. No one knows that. It's one of the I don't know questions, answers that I think we are allowed to say because no one knows that. Yeah.
Sikh Nayan, what are the chances as a cook with 70 plus 5 in New South Wales? I have submitted by EOI for 119 August
So
2020.
for the New South Wales EUI invite or WA?
Yeah, probably for WA.
Yeah, but we have a cook. We have a cook that will go much at 80, 85 points. I think I just mentioned that just now, right? Yeah. So that's, yeah, chef here. And then we have, yeah, we've got cook is.
Yeah, I think 60.
No, cook is.
60, 70 something.
It's not on the. No, cook is not on the.
General.
On the graduate stream. It's on the general stream.
Yeah, general.
Yeah, so general stream there is. I'm just counting the points. The points was right here. Yeah,
Yeah, I believe we did receive cook.
Yeah. General stream.
But it was not many, I think couple only.
I will find this cook. Here you are. Cook, general stream, scheduled to 491, 85 points. EUI launched 30th of October. That's pretty good. Yep. So, hey, look, you're going to get a lot of this kind of stuff about, oh, I launched mine at this time. My friend did this, and how come I didn't get? And from the questions today, one or two that pops up is Adam, and another one or two who sort of asked, hey, hang on, I've been more than a year plus been waiting for something, and things have not come back to me. I'll be a bit worried. And the nurse as well, who has been working for a year and a half, those things, I have not forgotten your questions because they are real questions in terms of, are you hitting a roadblock? Is there something happened? So if you are in that situation, got my contact, again, email me, let me know. Anna would have provided you the details. And then we will jump into what is available for you and what is not available for you. Maybe do a health check and see whether your EUI was even done correctly in the first place to understand why you didn't get an invite. Got all these many invites, got to jump back to the clients and got to go and attend to them at the same time. So I thought I'd take this time, me and Anna, maybe read through some questions for you. Hopefully it's been of some help. And if it's still something left unanswered, you can get in touch with us. We're more than happy to contact you. My name once again is Dharmindher from Aussie's Canning Wheel. Thank you for tuning in. And it's a bit of a rush, but nice having a chat with you. See ya. Bye.